Thank you so much to all 118 of you who have subscribed. Your support, your comments, just knowing you're out there, it means everything. It makes the silence a little less deafening, because what I am about to share with you is very disturbing. It all started when my brother Alex went missing. It's been 3 months. 3 months since my brother Alex just vanished. 94 days of silence. 94 days of my calls going straight to his voicemail. 94 days of me staring at his picture, the one from our last camping trip where he's got that stupid, wonderful, lopsided grin, and feeling this hole getting carved into my chest. The police have nothing. His friends are clueless. It's like he just evaporated, as if the world decided he never existed. And then, this morning, this showed up. There's no return address, no note, no stamp. Just a plain brown cardboard box sitting on my welcome mat like it fell out of the sky. And what was inside? It's the first real thing, the first clue I've had this whole time. But it's pointing me toward a place I know I shouldn't go. A place that my gut tells me, with this sick, churning feeling, might be the reason Alex is gone. What would you do if your brother just disappeared? If every official path, every logical next step, just led to a dead end? You never think you'll have to answer that question. I remember the day he went missing like it's branded into my brain. It was a Tuesday. He was supposed to come over for Taco Tuesday. It was our thing since we were kids. He never, ever missed it. But that night, he was a no-show. I called, I texted. Nothing. By Wednesday morning, I was letting myself into his apartment with my spare key, my heart hammering against my ribs. Everything looked normal. His bed was made, coffee mug in the sink, laptop closed on his desk. It looked like he'd just stepped out for a minute. But he never came back. I filed a missing persons report that afternoon. The police were professional. They took my statement. But Alex was a 28-year-old man. They explained that adults have the right to disappear if they want to. I tried to tell them that wasn't Alex. He wouldn't do that to me. Not without a word. He was a graphic designer, kind of a homebody. His idea of an adventure was trying a new hiking trail. He wasn't the type to just walk away from his whole life. But without any sign of foul play, any actual evidence, there was only so much they could do. It's not like the movies, where a crack team of detectives gets assigned to every case. The reality is much harsher. Hundreds of thousands of people get reported missing every year. And while most are found, some cases just go cold. The leads dry up. Resources get shifted to more urgent emergencies. It's not that the police don't care. It's that they're overwhelmed and need solid evidence to act on. And in Alex's case, there was none. So his file sits in a cabinet somewhere, another name on a tragically long list. And my life just stopped. Until this box. This box that feels so much heavier than it should. Not with weight, but with possibility. And with dread. My hands are shaking as I bring the box inside. It's a standard cardboard shoebox. The tape is clean, perfectly placed. I can't see any fingerprints, but I'm no expert. For a second, a paranoid thought flashes in my mind. What if it's dangerous? A threat? But the desperation to know, that tiny, flickering hope that this might finally be something, it's stronger than the fear. I set it on my kitchen table and just stare at it. It feels like a standoff between me and this silent box that holds the first secret in 94 days. I grab a knife, the blade cold and purposeful in my hand. I slice through the tape with a precision I definitely don't feel. The flaps spring open. I hold my breath, half expecting, I don't know what. Something gruesome, something final. But it's not. The box is almost empty. Down at the very bottom, lying on a bed of black tissue paper, is a single sheet of thick, cream-colored cardstock. It feels expensive, heavy, like an invitation to a wedding you really don't want to go to. I lift it out. My first reaction is just confusion. It's not a letter. There are no sentences. At the top, there's a long, chaotic string of characters, a random jumble of letters and numbers, maybe 50 or 60 of them, ending with a phrase that means nothing to me. .onion. Below that, a shorter string, about 16 characters. It looks like a password. Let's call it a code. Then, a time. Stark and simple. 22 GMT. And at the very bottom, 4 words in a clean sans serif font that make the hair on my arms stand on end. Don't be late. I read it again. And again. It's nonsense. It has to be a mistake. A sick prank. Maybe some bizarre ad campaign for a video game. My mind is scrambling for any logical reason. Anything that would let me just dismiss this and go back to the dull, agonizing emptiness of not knowing. Because somehow, not knowing feels safer than this. This feels like a deliberate step into the dark. But I can't dismiss it. It didn't come through the mail. It was placed on my doorstep. Someone came here. Someone who knows where I live. Someone who knows I'm connected to Alex. And that means this isn't random. This is a message. A calculated, terrifyingly specific message. For the first time in months, I'm not just drowning in grief. I'm feeling something else. A sharp, cold spike of fear that's so intense it's almost exhilarating. Hope is a cruel thing. It had all but died out, and I'd made a kind of grim peace with that. But this note, this puzzle, it's like a defibrillator to my chest. It jolted that hope back to life, and now it's thrashing inside me, all tangled up with pure terror. I look at the clock. 22 Braum GMT. I do a quick conversion on my phone. That's 3 p.m. my time. It's almost noon. I have 3 hours. 3 hours to decide if I'm going to open this door. But it's not really a decision, is it? It was made for me the second Alex disappeared. I have to know, even if it destroys me. I have to know what happened to my brother. My first stop is my laptop. I sit down, the card placed carefully next to the trackpad, and type the most obvious question I can think of into the search bar. What is a .onion address? The results are instant and unsettling. Tor. The onion router. The dark web. Words I've heard, of course. You hear them on the news, usually in stories about criminals and hackers. It's a hidden corner of the internet, a place you need special software to get into. I read that this software, the Tor browser, hides your identity by bouncing your connection through a series of relays all over the world, layering encryption on top of encryption, like an onion, making you almost impossible to trace. The articles I find point out that Tor itself isn't illegal. It was first developed by the US Navy for secure communications. Today, activists, journalists, and people in oppressive countries use it to communicate freely and safely. It's a tool for privacy. But a tool can be used for anything. And in the shadows cast by all that anonymity, a different world thrives. A world of black markets, illegal forums, and things I really don't want to imagine. And this .onion address on the card is a key to a door in that world. My heart is hammering in my chest. This is so far out of my league. I'm a high school history teacher. I spend my days talking about the Roman Empire. The biggest digital risk I usually take is almost clicking on a phishing email. And now I'm about to willingly dive into the part of the internet that police spend years trying to crack. But the note said, "Don't be late." It implies this is a one-time shot. Something is happening at that specific time, on that specific hidden site, and if I miss it, I could lose my only chance. Downloading the Tor browser is disturbingly easy. It's free. A few clicks, and the little purple and green globe icon is on my desktop. It looks so harmless, but clicking on it feels like a huge decision. It feels like stepping off a cliff in the dark and just praying there's water below. I launch the browser. The interface looks familiar, like a stripped-down version of Firefox, but the feeling is completely different. There's a weight to it. I've crossed a line. I'm not on the surface web anymore, the brightly lit indexed world I know. I'm somewhere else now. I glance at my computer's clock. 2:50 p.m. 10 minutes until 22 hours GMT. The next 10 minutes are the longest of my life. I pace my living room. I make a coffee I don't touch. I check the locks on my doors, a pointless gesture against a threat that isn't physical. My mind is racing. What am I going to see? A ransom demand? Proof of life? Or something worse? Is this a trap for me? The thought freezes me for a second. What if this is how they got Alex? What if I'm walking into the exact same snare? But the thought is gone as quickly as it came. If it is a trap, it's one they know I'll walk into. Because Alex is on the other side. Or at least, the hope of him is. 2:59 p.m. I sit back down. My hands are slick with sweat. I open the Tor browser again. The blank search bar seems to be mocking me. I take a deep breath and, with clumsy fingers, I type in the long, nonsensical string of characters from the card. I double-check it, triple-check it. Every letter, every number. It's perfect. My cursor hovers over the Enter key. This is it, the point of no return. I close my eyes, and I see Alex's smile. That stupid, wonderful, lopsided smile. I press Enter. The page loads, slowly, agonizingly slow. A blank white screen. Then, a small box appears in the center. Access code required. I type in the second string from the card. The 16-character code. I press Enter again, and the white screen turns to black. For a few seconds, the screen is just pure, absolute black. Then, a video player materializes. There's no title, no logo, no branding. Just the player. And it's a live feed. My stomach clenches into a painful knot. The video is surprisingly clear. It shows a small, grimy concrete room. The walls are stained and bare, except for some faded graffiti. A single bare bulb hangs from the ceiling, casting harsh shadows. It looks like a basement, or a bunker. In the middle of the room, there's a person, but I can't see who they are. They're wearing dark clothes and a hood that hides their face. They're doing some kind of repetitive, physically draining task. It looks brutal, like some kind of horrific endurance test. My mind immediately jumps to the urban legends I'd read about on the dark web. Whispers of red rooms. I'd read about them in my frantic 30-minute research session. The idea is live-stream torture and murder, where anonymous viewers pay cryptocurrency to make requests. It's a concept so monstrous it seems like it has to be fake. And to be clear, every expert and law enforcement agency has concluded they are basically an urban legend. The technology to reliably stream high-quality interactive video over the Tor network just isn't really there. But what I was watching, it felt terrifyingly close to that nightmare. To the right of the video, a chat box was scrolling by at a dizzying speed. The usernames were just gibberish, like the Onion address. The messages weren't words. They were numbers, bids. People were betting. Betting on what? How long the person could last. The detached, transactional nature of it was somehow more chilling than open cruelty. It was the monetization of suffering. A wave of nausea hit me. I wanted to slam my laptop shut and throw it against a wall. This had to be a mistake. A sick, twisted wrong number. My brother Alex is a gentle soul. A vegetarian who couldn't stand the thought of animal cruelty. He was the guy who rescued spiders from the bathtub. He cried at the end of sad movies. There is no universe where he would be involved in this. My hand was on the trackpad, my cursor hovering over the X to close the window. One click, and I could be free. I could go back to the sad, empty quiet. It would be better than this pit of filth. And that's when I saw it. My eyes scanned the room one last time, a final, desperate glance. And they locked onto a small detail on the back wall. On the stained concrete, just behind the hooded figure, was a piece of graffiti. It was small, easy to miss. But I didn't miss it. My blood ran cold. It was a bird. A small, stylized bird, drawn with sharp, angular lines. And one of its wings was broken, bent at a completely unnatural angle. The broken-winged messenger. My breath caught in my throat. It was a doodle. A stupid little drawing Alex had been obsessed with for years. It was all over his notebooks, his sketch pads, the margins of his school books. I'd asked him about it once. He just smiled that lopsided smile and said, "It's my messenger. He's got a broken wing, so the message is always late, always damaged. But it always arrives." It was him, Alex. He was in this room. That was his mark, his signature. It wasn't random. It was a message. For me. He knew, somehow he must have known, that I would see this, that I would recognize it. The horror of what I was watching was suddenly replaced by a new, more powerful horror. Alex was part of this. Not as a viewer, as a victim. The hooded figure on the screen. Was that him? Was he there right now? Or was this just a place he'd been held? The questions swirled in my head, a vortex of panic and adrenaline. I couldn't breathe. The room started to spin. I stumbled back from my desk, knocking my chair over. I gagged, bile rising in my throat, and just barely made it to the bathroom before I was sick. I knelt there on the cold tile, shaking uncontrollably. The image of that grimy room, of that broken-winged bird, was burned into the back of my eyelids. This wasn't a wrong number. This wasn't a mistake. This was a breadcrumb. A breadcrumb leading from my missing brother, right into the heart of a living nightmare. And I was the only one who could follow it. I need to take a second here. What you're hearing, it's the hardest thing I've ever had to talk about. This isn't just a story. This is my life now. Recounting this, seeing it all again in my head, it's a lot. And honestly, the story only gets darker from here. I'm sharing this because I have to, because the silence is unbearable. If you've been following along, thank you. Just knowing someone is out there listening, it helps more than you know. And if you're new, please consider subscribing. I'm going to need all the support I can get to see this through. I can't do this alone. The shock eventually faded, leaving something cold and hard in its place. Resolve. The fear was still there, a constant hum under the surface, but it wasn't paralyzing anymore. It was fuel. I couldn't just be a horrified observer. I had to do something. I had to become an investigator. I went back to the laptop, my movements deliberate now. I couldn't go to the police with this. Not yet. What would I tell them? I got a mysterious package, logged onto the dark web, and saw a drawing my brother used to make. They would think I was crazy. I needed more. Something tangible. Something that connected Alex to this filth in a way they couldn't ignore. So, I started documenting everything. I was terrified, but I forced myself to watch that horrifying stream. I used my phone to record the screen, my hand shaking so much the first take was useless. I took a breath and did it again, capturing the whole screen. The video, the anonymous usernames, the scrolling bets. I took screenshots of the broken-winged messenger, zooming in until the pixels blurred. I copied the entire chat log into a document. I saved the .onion address, the access code. I created a folder on a new encrypted flash drive and named it simply Alex. For the next few days, that was my ritual. Every day at 3 p.m. I'd log on. Sometimes the room was empty. Sometimes there was a figure, always hooded, always anonymous, enduring something awful. I never saw a face, never heard a voice. But every single time, that little bird was there in the background, taunting me, reminding me. Watching was eating me alive, and it wasn't giving me new information. The bird was the only clue. I realized I was looking in the wrong place. The answer wasn't on the dark web. The answer was in Alex's life. That graffiti was the bridge between his world and this one. I had to find out where it started. I got the key to his apartment from the landlord and let myself in. The place felt different now. It wasn't just a home frozen in time. It felt like a crime scene. I'd been through his things a dozen times before looking for a note. I found nothing. But now I was looking for something specific. I was looking for the messenger. I went straight to his desk, to his sketchbooks. I flipped through them, past the landscapes and character designs. And there it was, again and again, the bird. Then I found his journal, a leather-bound book I'd given him 2 years ago. I'd glanced through it before, but dismissed it. It seemed to be full of notes and world-building for a graphic novel he was planning. It seemed irrelevant. Now, reading it with new eyes, my heart started to race. The story was about a young artist abducted and forced to create art for a shadowy group called The Spectators. The main character sends out secret messages in his work, hoping someone will understand. And his secret symbol? A bird with a broken wing. It wasn't fiction. It was a diary. Alex was telling me what was happening to him, hiding it in his art. I devoured the journal, my hands trembling. Most of it was allegorical, but tucked in the back, inside a passage about the character trying to hack a rival's network, was something that looked totally out of place. It was a username, an email address I didn't recognize, and a password string. It was followed by a normal web address, not a .onion link, for a forum called Digital Canvas. A quick search told me Digital Canvas was a well-known online community for graphic designers, a place to share portfolios and find work. The last place you'd expect to find a link to the criminal underworld. This was it. This had to be the next step. I went to the Digital Canvas website. It was bright, professional, full of incredible art. A world away from the grim corner of the internet I'd been visiting. I searched for Alex's real name. Nothing. His usual online handles. Nothing. Then, I tried the username from the journal. A profile popped up. The avatar was a black square. The gallery was empty. The account was 4 months old. It looked abandoned, except for one thing. A single post on the forums, in a section for artists seeking collaboration. The message was simple. Graphic designer with experience in motion graphics and stream overlays, looking for a challenging, high-reward project. Discretion is a must. DM for portfolio. My blood ran cold. Stream overlays. He was advertising the exact skills someone would need to produce a high-quality livestream. I used the login details from his journal. They worked. I was in. My heart was pounding. I went to his private messages. There was only one conversation, with a user whose name was another random string of characters. The conversation started professionally. The client praised Alex's private portfolio. They offered him a job with astronomical pay, more than Alex would make in a year. The project was vaguely described as a private, members-only streaming event that needed custom graphics and a secure backend. Alex was hesitant at first. He asked for more details. The client was evasive, citing NDAs. But the money, it was too good to pass up. Alex was always struggling to make it as a freelance artist. This looked like his big break. The messages went on for weeks. Alex sent them mock-ups. They sent him cryptocurrency. But then, the tone of Alex's messages changed. He started asking pointed questions. What kind of content was this for? Why the extreme secrecy? The client's replies became shorter, more demanding. Then, the final message from Alex, sent the day before he vanished. This isn't what I signed up for. The themes are disturbing. I want out. I'm done. The client's reply came an hour later. It was short and chilling. The project is not complete. We require an in-person consultation to finalize the assets. Your presence is not optional. We will be in touch. He was lured into a trap. He thought he was getting his dream job, but he had unknowingly built a cage for a monster. And when he tried to walk away, they took him. I finally had it. Proof. The whole horrific story, laid out in digital text. It wasn't just a gut feeling and a drawing anymore. It was a timeline. It was motive. It was evidence. I put everything on the encrypted flash drive. The journal entries, the screen recordings, the chat logs, the private messages. I printed everything out, creating a physical file. Then, I walked into the police station. This time was different. I didn't just have a story. I had a file. I sat down with a detective, a woman with tired but sharp eyes, and I laid it all out. I told her everything, starting with the package. I showed her the printouts. I explained the journal, the broken-winged bird. I told her about the Munyon address and what I saw. I handed her the flash drive. I expected skepticism, but she listened. She read every page. Her expression grew more and more grim. When I was done, she didn't call me crazy. She looked me right in the eye and said, "You've been incredibly brave, and you did the right thing by bringing this to us." She explained this was now far beyond a simple missing persons case and would involve their cybercrime unit and likely federal agencies. It would be complex and it would take time. They couldn't just kick down doors. They had to build a case, trace the crypto payments, and turn my digital breadcrumbs into a physical location. But, she assured me, this was the first actionable lead they'd had. The case was no longer cold. It was now a top priority. Then she warned me, in no uncertain terms, to stop. My part was over. I was to go home, not log on again, and let them handle it. I had walked to the edge of the abyss. It was their job to fight the monsters in it. I walked out of the police station into the sunlight, and for the first time in months, I felt a flicker of something that wasn't dread. It was a fragile, shaky hope. The burden wasn't just mine anymore. The professionals had it now. But the waiting is its own special kind of agony. That night, I broke my promise. I logged on one last time. I pasted the Wonyan address into the Tor browser and hit enter. 404 not found. The site was gone. The link was dead. They knew. Somehow they knew someone was coming. So that's where I am now. Living in suspended animation. The police are working. They have the trail. But I still don't know where Alex is. I don't know if he's alive. All I can do is look at this photo of us, him with that lopsided grin, and wait for the phone to ring. All I can do is hope that the broken-winged messenger finally got its message through in time. Will they find him? I don't know. But I have to believe they will.